However, when we talk about tapping into the culture, where sometimes it can be a concern is when Christian artists promote non-Christian things, where they basically endorse it in a way,
Hmm.
and I think that is where some people like. I think for the most part, most level-headed people, especially in the people in the chat, they're everybody's cool with, hey, you ain't gotta, preach the gospel every single song. Everybody's cool with, like, hey, just do some life music, make it sound good, make it something that I can chew from, I can eat from, right? No matter what stage of my life I'm at or whatever. But I think where more and more what I'm seeing, especially coming out of the Grammys and some other things going on. I mean, gosh, even today, there was an artist who literally he didn't actually endorse anybody specifically. He actually just started a quick little phrase or whatever of some sort, and said basically, this person's new album, and then just left it just at that. And then all of a sudden, bro, I never read the comments, and good Lord, and that's probably what messed up my day. Like, I should have just stayed out of the comments because I started
Yeah.
reading it, and I'm like, y'all, his life has spoken so much about how he loves Jesus, and I'm like, I can't be in this comment section. So, but anyways, you understand what I'm saying? Where there's an endorsement. So what as a consumer, how am I to process when I see a Christian artist as yourself promoting or endorsing, somebody's new album? If somebody says, "Hey, who do you want to work with?" and then you start listing literally every, non-Christian artist, or when you're saying, "Yo, who's some new artist, or who's really, on the cutting edge right now," and it's literally no Christian artist whatsoever, because that also happened on a YouTube. I'm not going to drop any names or whatever. Um, as a consumer, it's like, well, wait a minute. What is going on in the Christian market? Because you're telling me everything else, and I could go everywhere else with that. So how should we address that?
Man,
Sorry, I
I
know I
can
made it like super
say
vague.
no, no, no. You're good. You're
Okay.
good. That's a great question. I feel like as Christians and as believers, obviously the first thing is we got to guard our hearts, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing we have to do when it comes to things that are not of Christ. Secondly, I would say you got to know that person's heart. If you know their heart is pure, then there should be no questions, because at the end of the day, we're not the ones that are supposed to judge. But it does say in the Bible that we can judge Christians in regards to their works and what they do that's un-Christ-like, as far as rebuking them for what they did. Now, we all know that music plays a huge role in influence when it comes to anything in life, from secular to Christian music to country to whatever the
Yeah.
case or genre. Music is like the biggest influence. And think about it, Lucifer, he was the best musician in heaven.
Hmm.
He, like, God wanted to hear his voice, nobody else. I want to hear Lucifer. I don't want to hear none of you other angels. I want to hear Lucifer. You know what I mean? So that's literally like the main person that runs the music industry.
Hmm.
You know, it's the main person that has control. Especially, we know he has control because it influences a lot of different things, from gang violence to bad behavior to feelings. It messes with your emotional feeling.
Hmm.
Um, that's why when we listen to worship, when we praise God, our natural feeling wants to cry out. Is because we feel what's going on. We feel the presence of God through the music that we use to reference Him. So that should automatically tell you that music has a huge influence in people's lives. But I do feel, as an artist, it's very important to watch what you give and what you talk about, through social media, text, through any type of outlets that could eventually mess up your image or mess up your integrity with your listeners and your followers.
Yeah.
Not saying, I mean, we're all human, right? We all listen to different types of music. I have a lot of great artists that are secular that I have looked up to as far as the hip hop game growing up. Like, man,
Hmm.
like, he's dope. Like, I want to rap because he raps. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And that's normal. But when it comes to a point to where, like you're saying, influence, right? If you influence your crowd, hey, go listen to this person, instead of telling them, hey, you should go listen to this person, or even listen to me. Listen
Yeah.
to, like, you should go listen to
Yeah.
my music instead of that person's music. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because I give you value.
Right.
Um, So I think at the end of the day, I think if we can learn how to guard our hearts, guard our minds, and guard our spirits when it comes to things that we indulge in or things that we see, I think we will be better off as Christians. We'll be better off as a body of believers to better understand or better handle certain situations when it may seem off.